I'm kind of losing my mind right now because it's time to discuss Spider-Man 2. Last night at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel did a crazy big Sony deep dive, showing off new gameplay, new trailer, a new console dedicated to Spider-Man 2, and also a load of specific talks about the graphical leap, the characters, the setting, and I want to take a look at all of it because honestly, it sounds like Spider-Man 2 might end up being Game of the Year. But let's see why. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's just start things off with the fact that this game is truly the sequel we all hoped for. I think the original Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 and of course the follow-up Miles Morales were utter masterpieces. I not only platinumed them, but they're games I spent a lot of time just casually swinging around in. So this game definitely seems like they're going for a much darker tone, whereas the first two games, as much as I like them, I think they were very classic superhero, which is great for Spidey, but it's interesting that they're going way, way harder. This is a much deeper, darker, more gorgeous world, to be honest. Man, both Spider-Mans look great. I'm really actually impressed by how much they've advanced their facial technology. This new trailer is actually just kind of everything in here. I think the new abilities we have, the new villains we're going to face, all seems like this is Spider-Man 2. Not just Spider-Man 1.5, not just Spider-Man DLC. This is Spider-Man 2. And also, I feel like you can see that budget. This is one of the biggest games of all time. Spider-Man has sold 33 million copies. This is a juggernaut of an IP. So I'm glad that Sony is clearly taking it seriously. They gave Insomniac the time and the budget to do this right. But I want to take a look at some of the details they've discussed. So here is everything they said during the big Comic-Con panel yesterday. This story is set 9 to 10 months after Miles Morales, which is part of the reason that you can tell that Miles is definitely older. A lot of the characters have aged up a bit because even though it's only been a year, you can tell that there's been that advancement of technology, of practice. They are this well-cohesive machine now. We've had two Spider-Mans, both defending New York City, both actually backing each other up, being supportive friends and stuff. This is definitely a new era of the webhead. Now, they've said the story itself, they like to describe it as a simple human story. Peter will push people away once he gets his new powers, because anybody who's ever read anything about Venom knows that not only does the symbiote make you into a big old cool badass with dark magical emo powers, but it also affects your mood. It heightens your strength, your reaction time, your senses, but it also makes you a little bit of an emotional teenager bitch. And I'm curious to see how we see Peter Parker isolate himself. Peter Parker has always been a character that's so jovial and jokey. It's going to be interesting to see dark Peter Parker done in the game. Peter Parker and Miles Morales are going to struggle with their personal lives. Miles is trying to enter college. Peter is underwater on payments with Aunt May's house. Now, personally, as a mega fan of Spider-Man, something I have always loved most is the fact that these are just people. Peter Parker is not Spider-Man. He takes on the role of Spider-Man. I've said this in the past, but Superman is Superman first and pretends to be Clark Kent, whereas I like the fact that Peter Parker is a person first and then takes on the mantle of Spider-Man. So I like that the games are going to show that very raw human experience, that it's not just punching baddies and then all of your bills get paid. He is a guy who's trying to work a job and help out his aunt and actually be a good mentor and tutor to Miles, teaching him to be freaking Spider-Man as well. In this new game, Mary Jane works for J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle, which is an interesting change. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to affect the relationship of Mary Jane working for a guy who hates Spider-Man while she's boinking Spider-Man. Miles Morales is going to confront Mr. Negative over the death of his father. Now, we're going to take a look, actually. I have a bunch of screenshots here we're going to also look at here in a bit, because I do think the graphical detail, the villains and stuff, we're going to take a look at that in a second. Harry Osborn plays a major role in the story. We actually have a little Harry Osborn pick right here. So a lot of people are curious about where Venom comes from, because typically in the story, Venom is an alien. He comes down to Earth and then ends up grabbing onto Eddie Brock, and we get Eddie Brock Venom. They have said they're going to do a different take on it. I think they're doing a man-made Venom that is created by Harry Osborn or Harry Osborn. And we're going to see how that turns out. Personally, I think it's interesting to think how it's going to attach to Harry, how it's going to end up getting onto Peter Parker and affecting him. I mean, clearly we end up with full-blown super Venom, so no matter what, this story is going to have an unhappy ending, and I'm definitely ready for it. Kraven is the catalyst of the story itself. The symbiote will threaten Marvel's New York and everyone and everything Miles and Peter hold dear. The very end of the trailer actually had a line from the symbiote where he's like, "We will kill everyone." And I think it's pretty cool. Tony Todd is the voice of Venom, obviously the guy who played Candyman. He is a particularly gravelly, very scary voice. I think all of these details sound fantastic. But this is the other part I've seen people discussing, because originally I did see some haters online trying to act like, that this wasn't much of a graphical leap, that Spider-Man 2 kind of just looks like Spider-Man 1. But I do think the devil is in the details. When you actually look at the comparisons to the graphics, the way that the textures actually look, the lighting itself, I do think that this is a completely redone New York, even if it still looks like, obviously, the same city. Especially, though, when it comes to these character models. Man, Kraven the Hunter and his troop of Kravenites, these guys look absolutely freaking terrifying. The fact that these people are going to be unleashed in New York, those are going to be fun to fight. Mr. Negative's new face, I mean, this is just the graphical detail of the individual beads of sweat, his open pores. I'm recording this. I'm doing like a screen recording software, obviously. I'm not sure this even will show up. I mean, these details, these 4K screenshots are genuinely just so impressive. The power of the PS5, baby. I know that's kind of like schlocky marketing terms, but really, genuinely, the power of the PS5 is nuts. Like, the fact that this is gameplay and not concept art, I don't think I'm ever going to stop simping for absolutely yoked up Venom. Now, the characters themselves, there has been a little bit debate about whether or not these character models look better. I have seen some people saying they don't particularly like Miles Morales' new haircut. I think, personally, I think this looks fantastic. I'm super cool about the fact that symbiote Spider-Man looks so gooey. I like that it's not really a suit. It almost looks like a carapace. It looks like a bug shell is wrapped around him, and it's so moist. Man. Look at this. The detail on each individual bump on Miles Morales' new suit. I am definitely down for this big leap. But let's talk about the console, because this to me is actually pretty dang awesome. Look, I'm not sure I was going to buy the full thing. When they first revealed this, I was like, all right, that definitely looks fantastic. I like the fact that it's like the symbiote shell taking over a PS5 Spider-Man. But then it says here, this is a limited edition PS5 console. It's going to have a limited edition DualSense controller, and you get a copy of Marvel Spider-Man 2 with the console itself. Pre-orders begin on July 28th. It'll release on September 1st. So, wow, we'll actually have this console way before the game itself. If you already own a PlayStation 5, you can purchase the PS5 console covers and DualSense controllers separately. Now, a lot of people have been tweeting about this. Personally, this is what makes me most happy. Every console should do this. Look, they actually have a digital edition and a disc edition variants of the shells themselves. I hate when there is a cool, awesome, crazy limited edition, and the only way to buy it, to play it, to interact with it is that massive $500 price tag. I'm definitely buying those shells, and I'm definitely buying this controller. Absolutely, 100%. Especially, I think this controller's big white buttons, let me click this here so you can see a nice 4K. Those look super sharp. This looks so good. It's kind of a standard black PS5 controller. Wow, that looks so good, though. I'm such a Spider-Man fanatic, I actually made my own little Spider-Man controller, which I've shown in a lot of videos. It's going to be cool to have an actually official one, but going back to it here, The symbiote has completely bonded to the PS5 console with the iconic white Spider-Man logo from Insomniac's advanced suit on display. The DualSense controller, you can see a large portion of the controller being taken over by the symbiote design. This is awesome. Clearly and obviously, this is Sony's major game for the year itself. I mean, this is them trying to actually put their big foot forward. But I'm also kind of curious because there is a lot of rumors that we're about to get the PlayStation 5 Slim, or the new version of the PlayStation 5. It is a bit odd that they're releasing a limited edition bundle of the current PS5. I don't know if that means the PS5 Slim is fake, or if they're just planning on having the PS5 Fat and the PS5 Slim just side by side, or maybe this is a little bit of misinformation. Maybe we're looking at the Slim and we don't even realize it. There are some rumors that the PS5 Slim isn't really slim. It's just going to be a variation that's cheaper for the consumers. Either way, I am definitely down for this. I am ready for Spider-Man 2. But are you guys? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Oh man, I'm so ready. I'm gonna have to rebeat all the Spider-Man games getting ready for this because man, it's time. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.